Hello and welcome to another episode of Normie Impressions of the 6th episode. This week I have with me Billy,
Heyo,
Ryan,
Hello.
and Sean.
Hey, Miller.
Say hello to everyone, damn it.
No, I don't care much about everybody. I like you, Miller.
Fine,
I haven't
fine. Well, I'm flattered, but whatever. Moving along. This week, it's been a little while. We had to take a little break, but no big deal. I blame that on Ryan. This week, we are talking about another 2017 summer anime. The last one we'll be doing, and it's called Gamers. It is a manga adaptation that started in 2015 and is still running. The anime itself is 12 episodes, so it's probably safe to assume that you won't be seeing the real ending. It'll just be the usual bullshit that anime always ends up doing. It's from a new studio called Studio Pine Jam that have only started in 2016, and they only have 2 other series to their name. So it's kind of telling about the quality of the show.
And the name
Although,
of the studio.
ironically, it is the 3rd most popular show of the season, but I think we'll be diving into that very shortly here. So the first thing I wanted to kind of ask here is, if we looked at all the other shows and compared the audience of this show, Gamers, to every other show that we've talked about so far. So Aramanga Sensei will include Aku no Hana, Food Wars, School Days, Vatican Miracle, Examiners, and Welcome to the Ballroom. I wanted to ask, what audience do you think would have the biggest overlap with Gamers?
thinking about the other ones that we've watched so far.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
Sean,
good
you said
question.
Aramanga?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's just a guess.
Yeah, I could get on board with that because it was kind of fan servicey into like 16-year-old horny boys that would also probably like video games.
Ryan, any thoughts on that?
I don't disagree, but that's probably the most overlap. I don't know. I mean, I could see someone liking Shokugeki as well as this.
Yeah, my thoughts were kind of leading towards the Aramanga side because it is totally just what I would call like a otaku bait show. You have this awkward high school boy who is into something nerdy, in this case video games, and he will inevitably be surrounded by cute girls and occasionally some doofy dude friends of his. Just like Aramanga, and I find it that this show was just right down the line with everything about like moe otaku bait anime that I just don't really care for. This is filled with like a ton of cliches, just right out of the gate, like main character while not being awkward, high school setting, all that nonsense. And then they do the whole, like, even just somehow some of the scenes are set up, like where the main female who he's talking to, I don't remember her name, don't really care to look up, she's trying to get him to join the video game or the gamer club at school, and he's kind of going back and forth on it, although he should obviously accept it. And like it has this scene where like she like leans, like bends over a little bit, has her hands behind her back, and like smiles, and like it's such a cliche little setup. And she asks him, do you want to join? And it has that little cut to him, and it freezes with his mouth agape, and then the wind blows dramatically, and it's just immediately everything about it is like I've seen this before.
Yeah, there definitely wasn't anything new. It didn't invent anything. I wasn't really blown away by any part of it. I wasn't upset with it. I didn't feel like I really wasted my time as much as maybe Aramanga Sensei wasted my time. But you're right, it wasn't anything special at all.
I guess it was a little boring. Like, I wanted to it's about video games, gamers, it's going to be like a high school club playing video games, and that they intend on competing in competitions and stuff like that. So like it sounds like stuff that I would like. The first episode, I'll say, was a little bit boring, but I didn't hate it. I see what you're saying about all the cliches and stuff, but
yeah, I definitely don't like the main character. I think he's stupid. I don't understand what his motives are. All he does because all he does the entire episode is like
His grades are average.
I saw all the little pop-ups, but he wants this girl. He wants to like be around her. He wants to basically worship her, be allowed to be near her. And suddenly she's sort of all over him, trying to get him to join the club. And for whatever reason, in this school, kids are very like pragmatic. They're like, I don't know, let me check it out first. You gotta be like, you gotta be persuaded to join a club that you know you want to join. And then he sort of betrays his own character in a way, I think. And I didn't really like that at all. There was, I don't really want to talk about the ending right away. But there was also another character that I think would probably make the main character more interesting. It's that girl that keeps asking him to play the game with him. I would like to see what's going on with that relationship.
Like the main
tuned.
girl.
No, not the main
Probably
girl.
somebody who doesn't know
The
in real
guy-
life.
It's the girl that keeps sending him invites on that one social game.
Oh,
Mono?
Okay,
Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like that
yeah.
would have made the main character a little bit more interesting if it really was brought up at all. I guess they're just saving it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Where like he seems like he betrays his own character, sort of, and that the point. We'll just dive into it later in the episode. Like after he keeps playing this social game with his friend online. I'm guessing he doesn't really know in person, but seems to have some sort of relationship with, where he wants to keep playing games with her. And the way that this game club plays games is often competitively. And he's just like not into that, which is why he says, you know what? I'll just keep playing games with my friend. I don't need to join your club.
Weird premise for a pilot, though, because they're introducing this concept of the gaming club, and right off the bat, he doesn't want to join the game club. And I'm guessing the second episode's going to be more of the same, of this girl trying to convince him to join the game club, and him wanting to play this social game. And then, by episode 4, we finally get to talk to the other characters in the gaming club again, and maybe he's actually in there, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, the girl didn't say it was about competitions. All she said was that the stuff was won with competition prize money. She made it very clear.
He just saw
that it was
he just
about
saw how
having fun.
competitive it was when he was playing, like how competitive the Sentai was, beating him at that fucking Counter-Strike knockoff.
Yeah.
COS.
And then,
Definitely Counter-Strike.
That's why I think he's stupid. I don't think that he didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't have been more clear about the fact, like, look, we don't care if you're good. We just want this to be a club where we can all meet. We can all just be in the same place and just play whatever game we want, which was another kind of concern that he had. He thought that they wouldn't let him play the kind of games that he likes, was like exactly what he said the first time he turned them down. And there's no reason to believe that.
I mean, the entire time they're playing the Counter-Strike clone, like, he keeps saying, oh, that was fun, is that the last one? And then they go for, like, 50 rounds.
Yeah,
maybe that might
seemed kind of
give
like
them an inclination of, like, they're not going to let me play what I want to play. They just want to keep playing this one
That
thing
was just
over and
him
over
being
again.
That's
weak
not the
and
feeling I got
not
at
putting
all.
a stop to it. Like, if he didn't want to play anymore, he didn't have to play anymore. He just didn't voice any of that.
Well,
He could have just stopped.
Not, like...
I know he's
Well,
stupid.
I don't know. I thought it was realistic, the reason that he didn't want to join the club.
Yeah, I don't think
that
he
was
betrayed his
realistic.
character, but I think he
don't think-
misunderstood, which is why he came to that conclusion, which would have been logical if the way he understood it was the way it was, but
The
didn't
betrayal is him loving the club, him being so happy with it, basically, and finding people that he has things in common with, real life friends, all this stuff that is exactly what he wants, and then he just doesn't feel like it because he doesn't think it's not fun enough, or like it's all,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
all
he
competitions.
understands the club to be about something that he does not like. That's
Yeah, I mean,
why.
But we
I
can
hope
all
he's
agree
just
that we're not
stupid,
done
I
with the
guess.
club. I mean, the show.
yeah,
isn't-
that's
the
the
show
point of the
obviously,
game.
like that's what I mean. Is it's weird for the pilot to do that, have him betray his character like that in the first episode, and make it seem as if like we're done with the club when obviously we're not. Like,
Yeah, it makes you think
he's gonna
that
end up joining the damn club. Like we all like, come on.
He has to.
Like,
'cause no
why
one
would they
wants to watch
introduce
him
all those
just have
characters
fun.
and stuff?
Like, there needs to be
Yeah,
more
I think-
conflict.
I think part of the reason why he also might have turned it down is that he seemed to be content with playing with his friend, and maybe like inferring things here, but it seemed like maybe the friend wasn't a super social person and had some issues, and maybe he felt like, well, if I join this club and we're playing these games all the time, I won't have time to play a game with my friend. who is always sending him requests in that like little social like phone game that they're playing.
Well, that would have been a good answer when he was asked why he originally got into video
Well, he
games.
maybe just didn't want to open up about it.
It showed his inner monologue. He was completely blank. He had no idea.
I mean, I feel like it's just kind of inferred in the context of the scene that like, oh, okay, he kind of like is like when Karen, the main girl, is like in the classroom like bugging him for like probably late. I think it's like 3/4 through the episode, and he's like about to like looks like he's about to like shake her hand and say, okay, yeah, I'll join, and then he taps down on the phone to accept the quest.
Yeah, but then he literally wasn't listening to her. He was like preoccupied.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a dumb
Yeah, but I think it's kind of a mix of both. It's a show making that like as a joke, which I'll agree and say it wasn't like a good joke, and like maybe it just only aided in misleading like the viewer a little bit.
It's crazy how much how close they're getting to copyright infringement on almost everything in the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The show should just be called product placements.
PZ4 has the same exact color scheme as PS4
Some of the games
games.
were just rip off. Like
One of them was definitely Final Fantasy.
Combat.
Yeah, the game that the girl was playing, the fighting game, was definitely BlazBlue.
Yeah, they had BlazBlue, and they have like Guilty Gear in there. They have references that I already said, Counter-Strike, and then there's, I know in like the opening, the OP isn't in this episode, but there's references to Smash Bros. There's references to Battlegrounds, which we're all, well, besides Sean, we've all been playing a lot of lately.
I played it once or twice. I played my first game. I got to 6th place. It's a little aside.
Kind of a few chicken
For my
dinners here or
fans.
there.
Yeah, and there's Ace Combat, and there's like a reference to like the Fate Stay Night like series and all that bullshit.
Oh really? I don't know that. Or was it?
I think like in that pile of games he had alongside of like Ace Combat
okay.
reference.
Yeah.
But that was another thing I wanted to build up. That was like the one thing I kind of wanted to compliment the show on, is that like it didn't feel like somebody was writing about video games and didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, because like the terminology they talked about like was spot on. It wasn't super in depth. It wasn't like meant to seem like
Like they know
that
everything.
CSI Law and Order character who's the gamer guy who sits in his basement, has all these like random ass jargon that like even gamers like myself don't use ever. Like
Yeah.
it was just
Overusing
very
noob.
yeah. Yeah, it felt right, and like obviously these people like straight up have some of the games, and there's a reference to Mario in there obviously, and
Yeah.
like it seemed like they weren't bullshitting that aspect, and it was the one aspect that I was like, okay, yeah, good for you, but it's not enough to like carry a show.
There were some
Oh,
weird
yeah.
like fan service decisions. I like, why is the one girl she's just playing with her bra out and like the jacket at her elbows? Like that's
Yeah.
not a comfortable way to play video games. Like
Because everybody
having your
knows the
hoodie
video
all
game club
half
is
down.
full of hot girls with their tits out, Ryan.
That's yet to be seen.
Ryan, you clearly didn't go to the game club at our high school.
No, please tell me about the game club. I must have.
I
was
actually
very
was
busy
in the
doing
computer
podcast.
club for a couple of days.
Oh yeah, so was I. They took my picture for the yearbook and then I left.
Were there tits aplenty?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
they were all over the place. I couldn't
Jeez,
handle
it was like, yeah, that's actually why we left.
Yeah, just weren't right.
Walking through the door, and there was just like, it was like the Playboy Mansion in there.
Oh, God. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It was
well,
not.
This show, I liked the other characters, but if I hate the main character, that's a problem. I like.
Yeah, he's just like a boring little, what people like to call a fuckboy, like just an annoying nuisance that's there to like just be a fill-in for the viewer.
Yeah, but it like it's I don't need to, they don't need to try so hard to get me to relate to the main character. I just want the main character to not be stupid.
He's just a blank slate who likes video games.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
too easy to relate to. He's nothing.
I like
He's
the
he's not-
other
He's the
character.
only one that's like realistic though when it comes to his view on like why he plays video games. That's the only believable one.
I think that was
I just
just
fucking
sort of
like
making
games.
fun.
Like who cares? The other guy, his mercenary dad, trained him
Yeah.
from a young age. Like,
Yeah, trained him in what? First-person shooter games?
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm like, what the fuck?
And then the other girl is basically Naruto trying to save her best friend. It's all over the place. And then the other guy lost all of his memories, and I guess block puzzles make him feel better about himself. But that was
be an
just
episode of Normie
like
Impressions.
more comedy than anything else.
yeah, I can see that because the show's obviously got some comical themes to it. Like in the beginning of the show, it didn't so much happen towards the end, but in the beginning when all those little things were coming up next to people, like the little UIs were coming up, and it was like,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's
yeah,
That,
like, those were
Make
kind
us
of
laugh
funny.
all the time.
I mean, they didn't make
That's
me
just
like
fucking
laugh, but they made me
obnoxious.
blow air out my nose like once.
those things are used often in anime in the past couple years, and it just makes me roll my fucking eyes anymore.
I don't like that it
Ever-
spoiled
like-
things.
Don't
It's not a
take them
spoiler if
as
the game-
don't
if
take
the-
them
if the show's telling
seriously.
you it's intended for you to find out then.
Yeah,
I
You
know,
just don't like
also,
the show's
I just-
decision to
I
tell
know.
you at that time. It's not a spoiler.
Just- don't
I know
take them
that.
that seriously.
The character I did like, and would like to see more of, should I choose to keep watching it, is just the guy that's good at arcade games. I thought he was pretty normal. I
The douchebag,
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
the one that's
Oh,
like
he
bragging
won
about
his
his
girlfriend,
cute
that rabbit
girlfriend.
thing.
Yeah.
That
Because
was-
you know
I'll never
he's
have
gonna,
a hot
he's gonna
girlfriend
end up
like
in
me.
that- Yeah, well, I know. I thought it was funny. I thought he's gonna end up in the game club eventually, one way or another.
Or a rival in some way.
I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
well-
they didn't seem very. That's the thing. It's not very. It doesn't seem very competition heavy.
No, it'll be more slice of lifey kind of episodic stuff.
I think they kind of bounced around a little too much for a pilot episode, in my opinion. They were showing us too many characters and not really giving us a reason to care about. Like the guy you just mentioned. Like you say you're most interested in him, but I couldn't care
Toast.
less about him.
Oh,
I like the first person shooter guy. Yeah, Kase was his name.
yeah, senpai. The older
Yeah,
guy.
senpai.
Whatever grade he's in, they don't really tell
Oh,
us.
but I guess like to Billy's point about the, surprised about the show deciding to kind of bash the point of the show in the first episode, the club, the gamers club. It makes me feel like they're really doubling down on the audience, thinking that the main character is going to be like the most interesting thing in the show versus the club, and that is just not the case. We do want to see the club more than anything else. The main character is the
Yeah.
most boring character,
Yeah, it makes me
as
think
is
that they're-
often the case in anime for some reason.
So are they going to go down the road of just like they want us to follow his adventure through his social game with that unknown person versus his adventures through the gaming club with all those other interesting
Right.
characters? That's the
We
wrong
as the-
decision.
Yes, we as the audience would rather watch the club and thinking of everyone in the club as equals and like some characters more than others and whatever, but just kind of, I mean, we've talked about it for the last 2 episodes now. I just want to see some competitions, and I think that could be good. That could be as good as, any other anime has done them. But if they focus too heavily on boring characters, then it's not going to be enough to make up for it.
I think he lacks a goal. He lacks something to do. Like the whole episode was just kind of walking around. Like it would have been good if he joined because that would have made the first episode make sense.
You
But he
could
didn't.
argue that that's like the most realistic part of the show, though.
Yeah, but it is the
People like
exact
him just,
opposite of
like-
Welcome to the Ballroom, which is why we kind of liked that. It was this ambitionless guy who was just kind of presented with this opportunity, and he found out that he had a major passion for it. Now, you have that in Welcome to the Ballroom, and then for gamers, it's kind of the exact same situation. An ambitionless guy, though we do already start off knowing he likes video games, but he is also presented with this amazing opportunity, which he doesn't even hide the fact that he loves. Like, he loves everything about it, but he turns it down for reasons that aren't entirely acceptable to me.
Yeah, in the spirit of fairness, I think that's just indicative of like how well made the pilots were versus each other. Like, for instance, Welcome to the Ballroom nailed it, and this one, like this show could very well end up being exactly what you described. It very well could end up being, he could really be interesting and find this crazy passion that he dives deep into, and that the viewer loves it. But they definitely didn't nail that on the pilot, and Welcome to the Ballroom did. So it's just definitely like a definite apparent difference in quality between the pilots of the two shows.
Well, I want him to get good at some type of game. He seems like the kind of
Well, he
social networking
may.
games, like the team sort of like RPG looking style on screen, but actually it's a short their short like League of Legends kind
Right,
of.
but we really don't know.
That
No,
would
it's
be
nothing
his
like
game.
League of Legends. Don't ever say it again. We
No,
don't.
the game he plays on his phone, like not League
His
of
game on
Legends,
Facebook
but it,
game.
it was like a turn-based.
It looks like a turn-based
weird
like Final Fantasy
style.
It's
style
like-
thing. It's nothing
Yeah,
like
like
League of
a
Legends.
mobile Final Fantasy or like the Puzzles and Dragons things. Like a lot of things that are popular in Japan because mobile gaming on your phone is way more popular there than it is here.
Yeah.
Not that it isn't popular here, but
Yeah, but there are those types of games on consoles and PC.
Right, but
so
my
like,
point is that he may very well become like a competitive Counter-Strike clone player. We don't know. The point is like he might, but like the pilot definitely doesn't suggest that, and it doesn't make me want to keep watching.
yeah, it even alludes to the fact that he might not ever get good at anything.
Yeah.
yeah. I think comparing the pilots of this and the last show that we watched, Welcome to the Ballroom, I think saying that. I mean, obviously this is getting the point of this podcast kind of across in this instance, that being that the three of you don't have as much experience with anime as myself or a lot of people probably listening. And I just think it's the type of show that this is and what it's going for. It's a high school slice of life thing that'll just kind of waffle through the days and not really have a whole lot of context. It's not like something you're just supposed to like come home to, watch an episode of, think about it in that moment, and just kind of relax to and not really give a shit about 2 seconds later. Whereas Welcome to the Ballroom is a plot-heavy narrative. It's going to be building these characters in that show the entire time. Meanwhile, that's not what this is.
Yeah, and I don't
completely
have time
different
for that
things.
anymore.
Exactly.
That's
I
not
didn't get
the
the
kind
sense
like
that I
that's
was
not.
even.
It doesn't appeal to our age group very much anymore. I don't think. I can't, or at least I guess I'm trying to speak for at least us. I don't doesn't appeal to me to come home. I have things I gotta do. When I want to watch a show, it's because I'm interested in the plot and the characters, and I want to watch it. I don't need to just sit there and watch a 20-minute mindless, meaningless, directionless show anymore. That was what like Yu-Gi-Oh was for me, like in middle school.
That was
What?
plot heavy.
But the
thank you.
star chips.
Well,
Yu-Gi-Oh was a bad example. That had a pretty fucking sick plot.
The Millennium Eye.
I get what you're saying.
But
I
you
get
know
what
what I
you're
mean.
saying, though.
Yeah,
I couldn't just veg out on
But-
the couch and watch this show and be content. It
Yeah.
has to go somewhere.
They,
I do disagree in the sense that like I'm totally down for things that are just more episodic and they can be a cerebral experience in that moment, and I could leave it behind 30 seconds later.
sounds like
You can
you'd like
do
No Man's
any
Sky.
type of show well. It's just they didn't do this type of show well.
I like episodic shows. I like It's Always Sunny and Cat Dog.
It's
and
completely different. Well,
know,
Cat Dog is more similar, but
Yeah,
like
I
episodic.
Hey,
would
Arnold.
like
it's
an episode if
it's always
if
sunny.
it had a
Is
beginning,
episodic
middle,
in the
end.
sense of. Yeah,
No, but what I don't like is the weird hybrid. I don't like when there's clearly an overarching plot, but they only get to it every 5 or 6 episodes, and then the in between is just like these nonsense filler things. We're just like,
Well, they're not
alright.
nonsense filler. It's more like it's building up these characters, and it allows them to explore more, be just more experimental in what they want
Right.
to do, and not just like they might have had an idea for a story and then thought, well, we can't make this into 11 episodes, so let's just like fuck around with the characters and show them their normal lives, which a lot of shows don't do. Like, it would be interesting sometimes to see like, what does Jon Snow do in Game of Thrones when he's not constantly worried about all this crazy shit? Like, what would be an average day in his life? It's just like him fucking about for the day.
I'm not interested.
Like
in that
when
at
he's
all.
not skyrocketing across the continent.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I don't necessarily dislike shows for that reason, but I don't like those episodes. One example that comes to mind is like Supernatural, where the story is pretty cool most of the time. Or I haven't seen the last like couple seasons, but like, I
It gets
liked
very,
it.
very convoluted, but
Yeah, I liked it. The story was awesome. They went from finding their dad to whatever, angels, demon, all that stuff was cool. But like 30% of every season, probably more, and that's probably pretty generous, was them going on these random trips to fight these, random monsters. And it's like, all right, well, cool, but you look forward to a show, let's say, once a week. It's an hour-long episode, and then you basically find out by the end of the episode that you gotta wait till next week to see if to find out anything about the plot. Like, you're looking forward to finding more out about the story. They probably left off in a cliffhanger the episode before, so you thought you were going to find out this time. Like, no, fuck it, we're going to the beach.
Your entire point basically boils down to just you don't like fillers.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
like.
But Miller's
I, wa-
entire argument is that it's not a filler. That it's just
Yeah, it's not a filler, and that I think
well, it's
just like
essentially a filler.
broad stroking, like cut those things out seems just to be just an unnecessary limitation.
I like.
I mean,
I
call it
like
what
to
you
know
want.
what-
Call it
do
a
it-
filler.
do what you
Call
want. I
it
just
call
don't
it
like the
important to the
episodes.
show. Call it not a filler. It doesn't interest me very much the way the show is portraying itself. I'm all for like I'm gonna backtrack on my statement earlier, and like when I said that I don't like just vegging out and watching pointless stuff. Like I do every once in a while, but it has to be like something really funny or something really entertaining. It
somewhat
can't just
engaging.
be literally nothing. Like Family Guy is, you could argue, is just like ridiculous and stupid and just like there's no point to Family Guy. It's just an episodic like funny show, but it makes me freaking laugh, and the characters
Yeah,
are
it's a really different style. It's
Yeah.
like that '70s show and It's Always Sunny and Scrubs and all like sitcoms are like they're episodic, but like not in the same way that like something like this might be, or something like Cowboy Bebop is something that has a lot of episodic stuff that does not always pertain to the core plot of the main character Spike, like
Well, yeah.
dealing with his past.
The difference
But-
is that the episodic stuff in sitcoms is they said that there is no real overarching, and if there is, it's kind of vague and not all that important. The writers come in and they sit down and they just say, "How do we make this 30 minutes as funny as possible?"
And to get back to the show, I feel like gamers just I don't get the sense at all that it's going to have these neat novel ideas at any point. It's just going to be leading us along like, oh, is he going to join the club? He's going to join the club. Oh, is he going to hook up with Karen? I mean, no, you're not going to see anything, but like there'll be like instances of it. Maybe they'll accidentally hold hands, or maybe if the show gets really kooky, he'll fall and like have his hand on her boob at one point, like so many other anime.
Or maybe somebody
That
will
wouldn't
bump them
surprise me.
into each other in the Ninja Academy and they'll kiss.
No, that doesn't seem likely.
Okay.
It happens. It does
Yeah, it
happen
does
though.
happen.
It's not happened.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, the show, what I didn't like, by the end of the episode, I was wondering what I was even watching. As soon as he said he didn't want to join the club, I was like, okay, well then what is this show? Like why am I gonna watch it? What are they getting to? What story are they trying to tell me and are pulling back so hard on? It's a pilot episode. You got to give me something to look forward to.
like Ryan was saying earlier. I think they really just wanted you to. They were doubling down on the fact that this character is interesting and what he's doing on his phone, but like it's not really.
Yeah, it's nice for them to do it because they know the creator knows how it's gonna go. But you got to give us something. You can't just
Right. It boils down to
It's
just
like
it
an
was a
IOU.
poor pilot. It was a poor
Yeah.
pilot because it didn't really make me interested in what's going on.
I was very close to interested. Like I would have liked to see what happens in the club next, and then it was just pulled away from me. And I was like, well, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm willing to bet that he probably joins it within the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be
I
willing to
know.
bet the
It's
same
just-
thing. Otherwise, what's the point in
And
introducing
he's
all
gonna
those
be-
characters?
He's gonna be around the club the entire time of the show anyway, so
Yeah.
even if he's not technically joined, he'll be hanging out with them.
But it would
They
be so
wouldn't
stupid
introduce
if they
characters.
introduced the club like they did,
Yeah.
and then he never joined the club. And I understand that it would be there in the show, but it would be such a weird, like, it would be such a weird relationship between like us trying to care about this club that he's never going to be in, and then him. It's like, why even introduce the club the way that they did?
Why not
You could
introduce
just
the whole
have it as a
cast?
separate entity, as just like the club that he never goes to, and that could be it. You don't have to actually get intimate with the characters inside the club in the room and stuff, unless you could assume that he's going to be in it.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. And I assume he's going to be in the club. It just, I think, I find his character even more boring.
I think he's going to end up implementing the game he's playing on his phone into the club somehow.
Well, that's kind of what I was
Yeah,
saying.
it might drag his friend in that's playing that game. Like, again, me
I mean, for all
theorizing
we
that
know,
maybe
that
she's...
friend may be somewhere else in the world or something.
I mean, they have that little, like, the one actual good transition of, like, when they're both playing the game in the room or whatever, and
She
it
just-
transitions
she
from
sits
him and
up
her,
well.
his room to, yeah.
Hmm.
And, like, it makes me think that, like, she'll eventually, like, come out of her shell or whatever, if that's a thing, and then join the club.
And be better than everyone else.
But, like, the only thing about the main character that I found even remotely interesting was just again, going back to the fact that the show and the manga it's based on, I'm guessing, is written by somebody that knows video games and plays them. Like, I get the sense that he's probably someone like Amano, the main character, who doesn't play games competitively and more so plays them for like the experience. This is like something that I relate to. I'm not a competitive gamer. I rarely play online games. Like I said that I'm playing PUBG. I put like 150 hours into it this year, but that is the only like competitive game I played in
and you suck
since
dude.
last year.
Right.
I'm more of like, I'm like, right now things I've been playing are like Yakuza 0, and I bought like the Hellblade game that I haven't gotten to yet, but that's strictly story sort of stuff. And like, I'm not that type of, I'm not the person who's going to be playing Counter-Strike. I used to be good at Call of Duty, but I just don't give a shit enough to like get into that stuff so hardcore like that.
Yeah,
I'm more of like, I just want to get a wealth of experiences.
I was definitely deep into the competitive gaming world for a long time. Like, I was really competitive with League of Legends. Was even a coach. I was really competitive with Hearthstone. Really competitive. Like, I guess I'm kind of competitive with Overwatch, but not so much recently. But I definitely have like that competitive drive. I can relate a little bit with the character that's playing the Counter-Strike game. The only difference is I'm not as good as him. Like, he obviously is like, they're portraying him as like one of the best FPS players in the country or something, aren't they?
Yeah,
Trained by his
he's the
mercenary
type.
father.
Yeah,
He's that
he would be the
walks
type
around
of
with a
person.
sniper rifle and steady aim. Fucking hate that guy. Like, go fuck yourself. Bring an assault rifle. You're walking around corners.
But the show would have been absolutely goddamn insufferable if it was made by somebody who didn't understand video games. Like, to Miller's point, like, if you ever watch those commercials where like you have like the couple playing video games,
Oh god.
and they're like playing a fighting game, and the fucking girl's doesn't even have her fingers on the
She has an Xbox
buttons.
controller. He has a PlayStation
Yeah,
controller.
she's just slamming the analog sticks, and her character's doing like double backflip kicks and stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't think those are the controls, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, it's amazing. I always find it amazing how little, like, I guess the producers care, like, that's accurately portrayed. Because they're always just tapping buttons as fast as they can and just moving analog.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever played a game in their life is like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I'm impressed that they even remembered to have the light on so that the controller
Yeah,
was
it's like
on.
all 60-year-old producers with absolute ignorance to video games, and they all like. And we'll probably see a dichotomy like switch with that kind of stuff when like millennials start taking over like the commercial industry.
I think.
Noah, did you find anything else at all redeemable about the show?
No, I think the majority of it's just really fucking boring. Like, it's not offensively terrible in almost any regard. It's just rote. It's trite. It's the same. As somebody who watches a lot of anime, I've seen this exact formula time and time again. When it's done well, I'll enjoy it, but like, it's a dime a dozen. It's the equivalent of like open world games. And like open world video games now are so fucking common. Like, I used to love open world video games. That was like my favorite fucking thing.
Prototype.
And now there's just so many that I dislike most of them. I still enjoy some when they come around, and that's like the equivalent of this show. Like, this is the Mafia 3. This is like the Assassin's Creed like Unity sort of deal where I'm just like, fuck off. I just go away.
I think at this point
But yeah, the show, I guess we're going to get to the closing now and ask the big question of, would you keep watching? So, Billy, would you keep watching Gamers?
I thought there was going to be like a tail end to that question for some reason. And like, the way that you ended the sentence seemed like there was like more to be had. Would I keep watching Gamers? Probably not. I actually, like, as somebody who's like definitely really into video games and competitive gaming and stuff, like, I thought I was going to really, really like it. I was kind of excited when we talked about it a couple weeks ago that we were going to watch this, but it didn't grab me. I don't know. Maybe if I have some free time, I'll maybe check out the second episode and see what it's all about, but it definitely didn't. I mean, there's some positive things to be said about it. Like, we made points about how like it's kind of realistic, and the person obviously knows about video games and stuff, but it's not enough for me to watch the second episode. So in that long rambling, I will come to the conclusion, no.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, you saying if maybe I'll get around to the
Sounded like
second
a
episode.
maybe.
I knew you were just gonna like, no, that's not gonna happen. All right, Ryan, would you keep watching Gamers?
I'll watch the next couple. I'll watch a few more episodes. Yeah, I'll give it another chance. I didn't hate it. Like, I thought the first episode was kind of boring, but lots of first episodes are kind of boring. I see the tropes. I see all the downsides that you guys see, but like you said, it's not so bad that it's offensive. So I'll probably watch another episode or two and just see if it gets better. So I guess that makes me a yes.
Okay. Freak.
I'll let you know.
All right, Sean. Would you keep watching Gamers?
Yeah, I mean, I do hate the main character, but I
The
don't know. Like,
games.
it's not just the games. Like, the games are cool, I guess, but I don't see why I wouldn't give it like another 2 episodes max. You said it was like the 3rd most popular anime this year or this season.
Of this summer 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume. I mean, it's gotta get better. It just like it can't get worse. It gets worse. Whatever. I'm willing to watch another few episodes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm willing to bet that the both of you, if you do watch 2 more episodes, will say no, not watching anymore.
Well, you can watch the beginning of next episode, which I believe
yeah.
we forgot to do this time.
No, Ryan. Damn it. Fuck you. That's not how we do things now.
Okay.
We're still finding ourselves.
As for me, I'm dropping it. It's a bad show. It's not terrible in any regard, but it's not good in any regard for all the reasons I've already said. So I'm not gonna waste my time. I know I'm not gonna think highly of it. So why bother watching anymore? Yeah. All right. Now to ask the question that Ryan was trying to just jump on, I guess. Has anyone kept up with the last show that we watched, Welcome to the Ballroom? Because we all said that we were interested in it. We enjoyed it.
I think
Just
we all landed on waiting for the season to finish and then just
that's
I agree with that.
I just want to see if anyone's broken their promise to me.
No, but I'm just as interested as I was
I don't
last
remember
time.
promising you shit, but I'll let
There
you
was
know
a blood
if I watch
oath.
another episode.
Blood oath. When you guys are all in
I don't
Ohio,
know.
you can do a blood oath. I'm staying out of the blood oath.
I'm not doing a blood oath, thank you. I don't want your AIDS.
Wonderful. All right, yeah. So we usually do these things every other week. Like I said at the start, we didn't do that this time around. We had both Ryan and Sean came to New Jersey where they initially lived, so now that threw off the schedule and just couldn't find time to record. But 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing another episode of this wonderful podcast. This time, well, actually, for the next 3 weeks, I have themes planned out.
Oh, God.
So, next episode's theme is early 2000s. So, I wanted to jump back in time a little bit because we've mostly been talking
Sounds
about
like
stuff from
Naruto.
2010 and on. And it's not Naruto because it's
Dragon
early
Ball.
2000s. And fuck you. No. Fuck no. We watch things that are deeper down the rabbit hole. That is what I say at almost the top of every... Anyway. The choices are, and you're making votes off of title alone. It is Technolize or Kino's Journey. So, Sean, I'm asking you first this time. Technolize or Kino's Journey? Which would you like to watch?
Kino's journey.
Kino's?
Yeah, Kino's. El
The
Chapo's
keynote
journey.
speaker's adventure.
Just walking around some chinos?
Yeah.
No.
That's my
Goddamn.
very hesitant
Oh,
choice.
Jesus.
But I stand by.
Alright, so 1 vote for Kino's. Alright, Billy. Technolize or Kino's Journey?
Can you say the first word again? Are you saying techno?
Technolize.
Okay. I thought you were
It's
saying
all one
techno
word.
eyes. Like, I didn't know what that word techno meant, but I thought that they were
It's-
referring to somebody's eyes.
It is
Okay,
a
so
made-up word for the
techno
sake of the show.
lies. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see what Kino's up to. Let's go with Kino's Journey.
Nice. Now
Okay.
Ryan's vote means nothing. Fuck you, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, what would you have voted for?
Well, it just so happens that I also want to see Tito's journey from
Too
Rocket
bad.
Power.
We're watching
Okay.
Kino's journey.
Sounds like a good.
Oh, we should just watch Rocket Power.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Tito's
Early
journey.
It's an early
2000s.
2000s anime.
Yeah. All right, well, agreed.
Yeah, let's. All right, we're watching Rocket Power next
Nice.
episode.
Miller,
No,
you're totally
we're
the
not. We're
squid.
watching
My least
Kino's
favorite
journey. We will be.
breed.
We're watching Kino's journey, and as this podcast always goes, we just watch the first episode unless we fuck up on our recordings, which
It's never
sometimes happens. Ryan fucks up pretty often.
I can't. No, it doesn't ring a bell. It's never happened once.
So in
Right.
2 weeks' time, we'll be back with Kino's journey. Until then, feel free to look at the rest of the channel. There's obviously 5 episodes of this. Actually, we mentioned all of them already in today's episode earlier in the discussion. So if any of those sounded interesting, go jump back to those. I have been posting as much as I would like recently. Again, the whole being busy last week kind of interrupted things. I did get out a video called it's about like 5 anime for beginners, but it's not a bullshit list that so many people do. I like to think I had some like clever reasons for like how you would convince your friends who don't give a shit about anime at all to watch things like Death Note or Psychopaths, and by comparing them to things that they may know. So give that a watch. You can also follow me on Twitter at wordsmaybe, no spaces, and fuck the rest of these assholes.
I'm gonna make a Twitter just to spite you, because at the end of
Yeah.
this, you always do this at the end, and at the end I'm gonna be like, no, Miller, I have something I want to plug. I have a Twitter where I share nothing but cat and turtle pictures, and I'd like for everybody to go check me out at twitter.com/catturtleman.
I earlier tweeted a picture of Bob's Burgers in the likeness of Sasuke Uchiha.
Yeah,
so
I thought that was great.
if that's the kind
good
of thing
stuff.
you're into, maybe Miller would allow me to like myself. Probably not, though.
Just well, I retweeted it, so I retweet some really good content. You can follow me at Sean2792. That's SHAWN. I have very little to say, but you can
Y'all
follow
done?
me anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening.
Sorry
Fuck
to-
you, Miller.
sorry.
See you in 2 weeks' time. Bye, shitbags.